particularly the leadership here in our community, have had a long history of standing up and defending our rights, our ownership and jurisdiction over our homeland. By way of example, my father's great-grandfather, he was the war chief, and he fought alongside the Okanogans and the Thompsons in the Canyon War against the Americans who were coming up during the gold rush era, fought them to a standstill, and our United Front signed a peace treaty with the United States. We saved British Columbia from annexation into the United States because they were amassing troops from New York and California on the Columbia Plateau to push us off into the abyss of extinction.
Kamloops to Secwepemc Nation, the fire was rekindled after the 6 Mile Agreement, the Tobiano, where government came in and they would talk with Skeecherston, and then they would talk with Kamloops and say Skeecherston has agreed to this, and when they would be talking to Kamloops, and then they'd go and talk to Kamloops and say Skeecherston has agreed to this. So the people finally sat at the same table and talked about what it was that was going on, and then that was when it was brought up that we need to rekindle our campfire, which is Kamloopsum.
The Kamloops Indian Band and the Skeecherston Indian Band, we coalesced to one unit and formed what is now the SSN, the Secwepemc to Kamloopsum Nation.
Well, SSN's an old campfire that was started and rekindled from years gone by. You know, historically there was 32 campfires that belonged to the Secwepemc Nation. You know, today there's only 17 tribes left out of the original 32, and there's different regions that were formed to make campfires, and Kamloops and Skeecherston was an original campfire.
And traditionally, this two communities were the Yuchuminmen of this part of the Shuswap territory. Yuchuminmen means caretakers of the territory within our area. That was our jurisdiction. Yuchuminmen means that we have the responsibility, the duty to protect the lands here and to manage the lands within our traditional territory.
Participation agreement was actually signed. My brother John Jules brought the two bands together, and he said that's the way that we can be more united and be stronger, have a stronger voice.
And if you sit at the same table, they can't do that to you. They can't break you. And you know, the ties that bind Kamloops and Skeecherston together is stronger than just being Kamloopsum. It's the family ties that we have, and it's also the ties to the land. But the family ties, we have the same families in both communities.
The participation agreement between Kamloops and Skeecherston and New Gold is probably one of the leading revenue sharing agreements probably in Indian country. And I'm so grateful that New Gold has stepped up to the plate to have meaningful opportunities, you know, for our First Nations bands. An example, you know, for other First Nations and other revenue companies, resource companies, I mean, to really have some meaningful dialogue, some meaningful opportunities, and meaningful ways to work together to share in the wealth and the resources of our respective territories.
Hence, we fought. It wasn't easy to get the arrangement and the agreement with New Gold.
Negotiations. You always have to have those, and you have to be sitting with people and talking to people and getting them to have the understanding of why we need to do this.
I'm very proud to say that SSN is, you know, a growing corporation, and we're going to continue to grow and build our resource revenue streams by, you know, looking after our decision-making authority, our partnerships, our management of our territory, and of course our number one goal is always to bring revenue in.
If there was no SSN, there would be no JIC. There would be no participation agreement. There would be no anything with New Gold or anyone else. It would be at a different level, and we wouldn't be where we're at today without the SSN.